Dream lover, where are you? Dream lover, please be true. Dream lover, say you'll stay. Dream lover, come my way, because I want a girl to call my own. I want a dream lover, so I don't have to dream alone. Can Mary fry some fish, mama? I'm as hungry as can be. And Lordy, how I wish, mama, that you would keep that baby quiet, 'cause my head is killing me. I saw my ex again last night, mama, at the dance at Miller's store. Yes, she was woo with that Jackie White, mama. I killed them both and buried them beneath the neighbor's sycamore. You think I'm psycho, don't you, mama? Mama, pour me a cup. You think I'm psycho, don't you, mama? Guess they better lock me up. Please don't hand me Johnny's pup, mama. I might squeeze him too tight. And you know all those crazy dreams, mama? Let me tell you about the one I had last night. I saw Jesus on the cross, mama, as triumphant as can be. He had a twinkle in his eyes, mama. That's when I knew I had to be his enemy. You think I'm psycho, don't you, mama? Mama, please take this cup. You think I'm psycho, don't you, mama? Guess they better lock me up. Let the sun shine. Let the sun shine in. The sun shine in. Let the sun shine. Let the sun shine in. The sun shine in. Let the sun shine. Let the sun shine in. The sun shine in. Alright, that's enough music. That song is basically just a response to the question, what is genetically wrong with me? At the end of the day, anyone's guess is as good as mine, as far as that goes. I have not been to see a doctor about my genetics. Probably never will. My trust in doctors ends where my body ends and my mind begins. And who's to say where that line is? But anyway, yeah, about that song. The part about being the enemy of Jesus, that's a cautionary tale. That's almost what happens when you lose your father and then you find Jesus and you have to follow him to the real Father, or you have to become the enemy of him. It's a powerful verse I read yesterday. It was a really harrowing one. During my Bible study, it was in Luke, and it was at the end of chapter 8 or 9, I think. And it says, whoever sets their hand to the plow and looks back is not worthy of the kingdom of God. Which begs the question, all those who never put their hand to the plow, are they worthy of the kingdom? And the answer is maybe, and not even really maybe. The answer is probably. It goes back to that other parable about the workers coming to work in the vineyard at different times of the day, and the ones who started at the beginning thinking that they're going to get paid more than the ones who start at the end, when we all know the kingdom is the kingdom. But what is putting your hand to the plow, and seeking the kingdom? Because in Jesus' own words, if you put your hand to the plow and then look back, you're not worthy of the goal. So I think that should make us strong, help keep us strong. If we have indeed put our hand to the plow. All right, where did I leave off? I guess we'll start with just basic news. It's very rainy in the south. Hurricane Laura came through. She came through Arkansas last night. Got a lot of wind, got a lot of rain. Power washed everything. I hope that everybody's socially distanced while they were evacuating and such. And I hope they're socially distancing when they're saving each other. Because what good is it to be pulled out of a flood if you're just going to catch the Rona? Might as well have just stayed in your flooded house. I'm joking, of course. What else happened? Some kid at a protest shot a couple protesters, and he was white. And this other black guy, he got killed by some cops for supposedly resisting arrest. And now these two things are being held up as like the two different pictures of America, when they're both just ridiculous media manufactured pictures. But it is funny, it is on Facebook, watching people react to both of them. Because it's just painfully obvious that there's just two different worlds, two different media shows being played for the different groups. For the liberals who think that government is the only thing that can save us, except for our particular government, which is the worst thing that can happen to humanity. And then the conservatives who think government is ultimately bad, but our particular government is the best thing that could happen to humanity and needs to be protected at all costs. Anyway, what it's amounting to is little skirmishes in the streets by wannabe members of both sides. Because hopefully most people that watch these videos understand the CIA is Antifa and Black Lives Matter. The CIA is the KKK. They've always been. The CIA is every Blue Lives Matter group like that. And so now they're just like in the Middle East, staging the Grabbler wars with the Afghanis, the CIA just literally stirring them up to fight the American troops and then get the right pictures and reports, and you got a war, folks. Well, same thing here. It's just like stir up little hornets' nests everywhere, take the right pictures, spin it the right way, and you got a civil war. When it's just a bunch of soy boys and rednecks who just want drama, man. They're just tired of living in this honeycomb nursery nanny state. Everybody wants, it's just your general rise of Dionysus, blood ritual orgy, blood, fear, hate orgy. And yeah, a lot of people are going to die. And that's basically, that's every city is going to implode in much the same way. And basically all my main message is just get out of that mess. Get out of that hellish mess. There's a great movie written by Patty Chayefsky called The Hospital. And it's basically the hospital represents Western culture, and it's all falling apart. Nobody knows who's in charge, the insurance people or the doctors. Nothing's being diagnosed right. It's all pure chaos. And to two of the doctors are having a conversation like, we need to get out of here. We can just go start a practice in Africa or South America, and because this can't be saved. But then the other doctor's like, no, I have to stay here and just at least and slow down the final implosion as much as I can, just mitigate the chaos. And a lot of people do feel that way. And really, part of me feels like that's what the whole coronavirus is we've reached such a decadent state and such a disregard for the family and goodness. And what I'm learning is that civilization and government and culture only exists to protect the family. And if the family is not a priority anymore, then neither is civilization. And civilization doesn't even need to exist. Because once the family's not a priority and just these pleasure principles, then, the West turns into one big cannibalistic, Dionistic, sex, dead and death ritual. And the coronavirus might just be like, these people are literally fucking themselves to oblivion. We need to put masks on them and separate them, or they're all going to be gone. All of our crops are going to kill themselves. So in that sense, I think we can be thankful, because really the concerts, all the mass gatherings, even these mega churches are turning into Dionysus afterlife pleasure rituals. And of course the concerts and the sporting events and these festivals, these music festivals. Ugh. Yeah, so in that sense, the corona measures might be important. I think the last thing I'll say is back to my father. Yeah, I don't know what kind of impression most people would get from everything I said about him being Q, but I do certainly believe that. But I didn't mean to villainize him quite as much as I probably did. But it's important to know, like, in my story, he's going to come across as the hero and the villain all the time. Because that's how Shakespearean drama plays itself out. And if my dad's faith and the favor of God is any measure of how much his children really do still love him and want to be a part of his life, well, God has been good to him in that sense. But one of the most important things he taught me very early on, and this is a true hero of him, I was born in Los Angeles, and so as a 5-year-old, surrounded by all different types of people, races and sizes, shapes and colors. And he just made it very clear, this is like the first lesson he ever taught, is that there's only two kinds of people. The kind of people trying to serve God and the people not serving God. But it's not quite as simple as it sounds. There are people that know about God and don't serve him. And there are people that don't know about God and serve him. And people that don't know about God and that don't serve him. And that know him and don't serve him. But there's only one distinction. Sorry, that got confusing. But there's believers and unbelievers. And don't be too quick to judge which is which, but just know at the bottom of your heart that that's the two kinds of people. And so for me, yeah, really religious and racial designations have never really existed. So that's the binary I've never been drawn into. And it's helped me a lot in life to just recognize the right kind of people. So yeah, he did a good job there. And he did a good job just making my only curriculum growing up just reading, just books. We didn't understand math or science in my house, but we understood language. And we kind of understood music, but my dad, growing up through the 60s, he kind of had this bias against rock and roll and all modern music in general. But for some reason, my older brother was given piano lessons, and then the sister below me was given piano lessons, but I never was, which is strange. But I was kind of a wild child, and they probably just thought it wouldn't be any use to try to sit me down with a teacher. And they were probably right. So music came to me a lot later. But really, my education was language. It was the Bible first, and after that, it was, See Spot Run, and then it was on to Nancy Drew and the Power Boys and Jack London, and then on to like the medieval stuff, the Arthurian stuff, Mallory, Sir Walter Scott, Howard Pyle, Anne of Green Gables, Little House on the Prairie, and then on to the classics. Chronicles of Narnia, all C.S. Lewis's stuff, Wrinkle in Time, Dark is Rising, and then on to the real classics, which is just the great books of our literature, on upward to Shakespeare and Chaucer and Cervantes. And then back, into that Greek stuff. It just never ends, but that's language. And conspiracy. Yeah, I was writing essays from Behold the Pale Horse and None Dare Call It Conspiracy before I was 10 years old. So I don't really have a mainstream secular point of view. I've always been the outsider looking in on the mainstream. To me, everything has always been the upside down and, Babylon. That some evil force is in charge and that there's some battle going on between good and evil that never ends, and that we're right in the middle of it. And so that gets into, at 18, having a high reading comprehension but nothing else, and not liking any of the jobs in the city. I joined the military. I turned 18 in July of 2001. I joined the Army in August. and then September of 2001, the World Trade Center was attacked. And then a whole new chapter of life began. But I just wanted to start out, what slowly led me up into joining the military. It's just because I needed a paycheck. And, I didn't want to be dependent on anyone else. And I had a good understanding of what the United States Army was. I had a complete understanding of it's just the imperial arm of the New World Order. And so many people tried to talk me out of it. Just trying to re-explain all that stuff and how I would just end up wearing a blue hat and policing Americans. And even if I wasn't, I was just doing the managerial elites, the corporate elites bidding by being in the military. But like most young men, it was like you get so tired of living in a completely regulated nursery that all you want is a little bit of chaos. You just want something, the context, to change. And I think that's inherently deep down why most people join the military. That, and I kind of halfway knew it's kind of like a rite of passage for writers. It's like, unless you go to the actual front lines and experience the real heart of darkness, where the empire is truly doing the most evil things, but that's what, the materialist life back in Babylon is being sustained by. Unless you go experience those front lines, you're not allowed to write about the subject. And so I kind of just instinctively knew that was a qualification, was getting to the chaos, to the front lines, and experiencing it. And what happened there is really what led me to believe in Bertaria. And so I'll slowly try to get through that story. But big things are happening. Going on a big trip soon that has a lot to do with Bertaria. Blaze is doing good. He's going to be able to take over and keep things running here on the farm. But all that to come. Anyway, stay dry, stay safe. Love you all. Keep crushing.